My name's Melanie. I'm an author and a mental health advocate from Bedfordshire. I have a beautiful 17-year-old daughter called Rhiannon, and this is our story. 7 years ago, when Rhiannon was just 11, I suffered a psychotic breakdown caused by the extreme stress of running a very demanding business. I was very unwell, and in the grips of psychosis, I tried to take my life. Rhiannon found me. Luckily, I was saved and sent for assessment, where I was deemed so unwell they sent me to a long-stay secure psychiatric unit. Rhiannon went to stay with my parents, who we're very close with, and lived just down the road. I'm pleased to say I made a full recovery within 3 months, and Rhiannon appeared to cope with everything really, really well. Soon we were back at home together, and this whole nightmare was behind us. Or so I thought. Almost a year to the day after leaving hospital, something unimaginable happened. My daughter, now 12, took a massive overdose, completely out of the blue. She was top of her class at school and had lots of friends. There was absolutely no signs that she was struggling with her mental health at all. I found her and she was rushed to hospital, where we were told to expect the worst. She miraculously pulled through after 5 long days, but denied anything was wrong, saying she didn't know why she did it, that she felt fine now. Now this sounded very worryingly familiar. When I woke up in hospital after my suicide attempt, I was gutted to still be alive and couldn't wait to get out of there and jump in front of a train. I told them I felt fine, so they would let me go. Thank goodness they sent me to that psychiatric unit, or else I wouldn't be here today. So I knew from my experience that whatever turmoil Rhiannon was in and whatever she was suffering from, I knew she could get better with the right support and treatment, but we needed to find out why she'd done it in order to help her, and she wasn't talking. I racked my brains for an answer. Was she being abused, I wondered? What could be so awful that she felt she would be better off dead? We had lots of agencies involved, including the wonderful CAMH, social services, her school, crisis teams and more. She was now seeing a psychiatrist and having art therapy. It was clear she was unwell. She was now self-harming, going off the rails at school and at home, smoking, getting into toxic friendships and displaying reckless behaviour. She was also still suicidal, almost jumping off a 20-storey high building and walking into traffic. The school would ring me every day. She was breaking into pencil sharpeners to get to the blades to harm herself. Her behaviour was out of control. She was getting into trouble. I was so worried. One night she came into my bed for a cuddle. This was quite rare, and I knew she had things on her mind. I tried to push her to open up, but she got upset and angry. Sweetheart, there's nothing you can say that will make me judge you or be angry, I promise. Please talk to me. You'll think I'm crazy, she said. I won't. Tell me, I whispered. I could see she was in 2 minds about opening up, but she did. Bravely, she told me all about the voice in her head that she'd lived with for the last year. It was a taunting, nasty, sarcastic voice that would mock her and tell her everything was her fault. It wanted to defeat her. Whenever I said, I love you, it was snipe back, she's lying, no one loves you. It sounded like a living nightmare. We stayed up talking about it for hours as she explained it all to me. I was so sad for her that she'd been dealing with this all by herself, but felt so relieved as now I knew what we were dealing with. I was confident she would get the right help and get better. I assured her she'd get better, and she looked away. Did it say something, I asked. She turned to me and said, yes, it's told me it will never leave me. I calmed her to sleep and then sat up and wrote on 15 sides of A4 paper everything she just told me before I forgot anything. My memory's terrible. I wanted to get it all written down. The next morning I took copies of it to her psychiatrist, social worker and school. Her psychiatrist assured me she would get better. After more assessment, she was diagnosed with elements of different mental illnesses, including post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of seeing what had happened to me, along with elements of psychosis, depression and the beginnings of an eating disorder. She was put on child-appropriate medication and continued to receive therapy. Over time, her desire to die melted away and the voice got fainter and fainter until it disappeared completely. She is now 17, happy and healthy, has just passed her driving test and is going to uni next year. She feels stronger than ever for beating such an awful mental illness, and I'm so proud of her for overcoming it. In both our experiences, there was huge and life-changing support for us when we hit crisis point, e.g. a suicide attempt. But where was this help and support beforehand? Neither of us felt we had anywhere or anyone to turn to. We both felt alone and scared. It seems to us that there needs to be more help available before suicide appears to be the only answer. And I'm proud to say we've both become ambassadors pushing for early intervention into mental health problems. Our message is one of hope, that even in your darkest times you can recover and lead a healthy, happy life. I've written a book about her experience called And When You Become a Diamond, which is available on Amazon, which you might be interested in reading. And I'd like to share a piece of writing by someone called Laura Parrott Perry, which I came across recently. It's called You Don't Know That When You're 12. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. When I was 12 years old, I thought about giving up every single day. I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to go to school and be relentlessly made fun of for wearing the same clothes day after day. I didn't want to hear how ugly I was, how flat-chested. I already knew. In middle school, I could not put a foot right. I didn't look the right way. I didn't dress the right way. My parents were divorced. My family was poor. I had crooked teeth and there was no money for braces. School was hard for me because life was hard for me. Now, none of those things are insurmountable, but you don't know that when you're 12. Middle school was the fifth circle of hell. I approached every single day without hope of it being a good one. I had a few friends, but I was the tag-along, never the best friend. Until I met Stacia, that is. I think Stacia may well be the single reason I survived middle school. Stacia was edgier than me, still is. She was effortlessly cool, still is. And she had red hair, still does. She seemed to just like what she liked, and if you didn't like it, whatever. She'd just saunter along, too busy being awesome to give a rat's ass. And she liked me. Me! Having a friend, a best friend, made every single difference to the world to me. I remember watching Grey's Anatomy and hearing Christina say to Meredith, "You're my person." Yes, Stacia was my person. My life got immeasurably better once she was in it. My life got bearable, livable. I could keep showing up now that I had someone to laugh with, roll my eyes with, dance with, dream with, cut up my t-shirts with. It was the 80s after all. Stacia moved away from our freshman year of high school. Her mum, a warrior if ever I met one, passed away, and my best friend moved to Florida. We were both devastated, but even those couple of years of feeling included made a huge difference for me. High school wasn't great, but it wasn't awful either. I think about the kids out there that don't have that, who haven't perfected the smirk or found a bestie who has, who are different, and that feels like the end of the world to them. Because when you are 12 and 13 and 14, it truly does feel like the end of the world. You are so impossibly young that you cannot conceive of how very big and endless the world is. And so, when you're bullied relentlessly, when school feels like an unsafe arena, when your attendance is compulsory, and when the adults running the arena don't seem to get it, don't see the lions, won't acknowledge your lack of armour, I understand wanting to leave the arena. This morning, my friend Jill posted a link to a story about a young girl, Alyssa, 12 years old, who came out as bisexual. Her family supported and embraced her, but at school, that's a different battlefield. She was told she was disgusting and called names. And even though she was loved and lifted up at home, it became too much for her. She decided she couldn't face the arena anymore. She left. She left the US. She left the world because she thought she was at its end because she was 12. Alyssa's suicide was the 15th suicide at her school in 12 years. Something is broken, friends. There is a fracture running so deep and so wide that these children, these babies, are falling into it. And while the statistics are particularly horrifying at that school, they are bad everywhere. I'm going to think about this all day. I'm going to think about that beautiful, brave 12-year-old girl who spoke her truth and then felt so battered by the reaction in what should have been a safe place for her that she felt as though she needed to leave forever. It wasn't okay, but it wasn't the end. But you don't know that when you're 12. I just wanted to end by saying thank you for listening and thank you for having me. I'm very aware of how lucky I am as a mother that my daughter didn't die that night. It was only luck. And was able to go on and become a happy young adult with the whole world now at her feet. But how many families are not so lucky? I feel a responsibility to keep talking about this until something changes. My book title is only half of my message to my daughter and your daughters and your sons. The message, the very last line in my book is this: and when you become a diamond, you'll see why life had to pressure you. Thank you for listening.